Yeah, we
Yes,
live.
side. Yes, we are. So greetings to one and all. Yes.
Community inside. First Team Family, Radio RTC Emancipation Weekend.
Yes,
First
it
Team
is.
TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What you dealing with this morning? Oh, yeah, yes, last night was real trouble. The last discussion we had, we talk about history repeating itself. And we talk about 1970, the uprising. Then we talk about 1990. And just the other day, we had a big worldwide uprising, like if we forgot it. Chica,
Yes.
I mean, that was the next uprising right there.
Yes, it was.
But the difference with then and now is that the way the media could control information and perception. Mike, what do you think? The
Correct.
power of the media, Mike.
Yep.
Talk to me.
Yeah, well, I haven't been in the media for years. You're correct. The media, I always say, the media can make and break.
Yeah,
And whatever they give you, most of the times, I will say 75% don't
yeah,
always be true.
yeah,
It's all about inclusive news. Most
yeah,
times, who can get the best news first
yeah.
and put it out there. But in this day and age, we don't get fact checks. That's out of the window. So you don't get reality news anymore. Most
Yeah.
of the time.
And Mike said something there, fact checks. That was our old media um, law that you had to check the facts before you went to the senior editor. That would
Yeah.
give you the okay to go ahead and run the story. That was being in news too. So that is not around anymore. They
Now,
don't
now, now you have to remember,
Yeah,
most of the times, editors is the last line of defense.
yeah,
These are the ones that put the news out. So if
yeah,
they don't do proper fact checks,
yeah.
you know, sometimes they don't even proofread the stories.
No,
Hmm.
that take
Yeah.
a while. They don't take a
True.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chica,
Especially with
so yeah.
social media now, we seeing that the news that is brought forth is what they want us to see, what they want us to believe,
Yeah.
what they want us to talk about. That's what it is. So we go into the main video now.
Oh Lord, Chica, hurry boy.
No, I just asked
All you do is what you're cooking today,
later. Mm-hmm.
half 11.
I find Chica sounding different this morning, boy.
After
Yeah.
that
She sound,
discussion leave ladies a little
yeah.
spicy.
Yeah. So
So
let me
it's
get the
video,
video now. Let me get the video.
yes, video RTT Burn Team TV Emancipation Weekend.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to look at this clip and give us your comments. Yeah?
Yeah.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
America is watching. By now, millions of people have watched footage of George Floyd dying under the knee of a police officer. Just 3 weeks earlier, they watched Ahmaud Arbery being hunted down by two white men. Watching black people die is just a few clicks away, and the data shows nothing else seems to inspire action like visual evidence. The New York Times reported the details of Arbery's death on April 26th, but it wasn't until after May 5th, when video of him fighting for his life was leaked by an attorney, that people really started paying attention. Back in 2014, people seemed less moved by reading about Tamir Rice's death than by watching it days later. Laquan McDonald was murdered by police in that same year, but public interest didn't take off until a year later, when body cam footage was released that proved that police had lied when they said he'd lunged at them with a knife. When George Floyd's death immediately went viral, it reinvigorated a movement. And now, the state is investigating the Minneapolis Police Department for, quote, systemic discriminatory practices over the last decade. Something black activists nationwide have been asking for. So when Americans watch, things can change. But the history of these images is a little complicated. During the Civil War, pictures of a slave who had deep scars on his back from whippings helped to motivate some white people toward the abolitionist cause. On the other hand, other white people reacted differently. They liked this stuff. They put photos of lynchings on postcards and traded them as novelties, even after the US Post Office banned them in 1908. But the message changes along with the sender. By 1916, the NAACP started circulating images of lynchings to build support for their movement. Then came 1955, when Emmett Till was beaten and murdered by a mob of white men because a white woman said that he'd flirted with her. He was 14 years old. His face had been mutilated beyond recognition, but at the funeral, his mother opened the casket, allowing the media to see him and forcing America to see what they'd done.
When Emmett Till's mother had the courage to open that casket, it shocked the world. And so unfortunately, there are some people who still don't believe how people are treated just based on their gender or sexual orientation or the color of their skin. So thank goodness that there are cameras that are showing police brutality and showing injustice.
Emmett Till's photo was captured by journalists who went on to document the civil rights movement. Things have democratized since then, and increasingly, it's everyday people who are capturing that visual evidence. Like in 1991, when the beating of Rodney King was filmed by a guy with a camcorder. Then cell phones came along and gave most of us a camera in our pocket, and we watched police choke Eric Garner. Americans seem to appreciate visual evidence of racism, but this comes at a traumatic cost, especially to black people who don't need to be convinced, yet again, that racism does exist.
I think what's damaging is looking at it over and over and over again. And it causes more stress and anxiety, makes you feel more vulnerable. The way our brains work, our brains are meant to help us and protect us by driving us to reward and keeping us safe. But when there's uncertainty and you look at things that are negative, it makes you wonder, could that happen to me?
Video of a police officer killing a black American is almost certain to get millions of views, but it won't necessarily get an indictment, and only rarely will it get a conviction. And even aside from that legal process, black people have to watch, again, as the national conversation inevitably shifts away from racism and police brutality, and toward arguing about the quote-unquote right way to protest, forgetting the reason that people are in the streets in the first place.
What's his name? George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd!
This year has given us yet more video evidence of how openly a country built on slavery continues to lynch black people. But all these videos leave black people with a question. America's watching, but is it listening?
Big up, big up, big up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Powerful.
Well, let's talk to man. Chica, let's talk to man.
Let me just put a disclaimer. Anything that is said on the Burn team, anything that is said, oh, you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. You go ahead.
Right. Anything that is said by the
Yes,
viewers
we are hearing you.
via text messages or the presenters, we put a disclaimer to it. It's all for educational purposes and
Right.
not for anything else. So let me continue.
So we want to big up Sonali Barker,
Yes.
and we're bigging up Mr. Shine on the inside. Big up Trevor G on the inside. And this is
Yeah,
Burn
morning,
Emancipation Weekend, man. Chica, what's your view on what you just saw?
Right. So, I mean, it was quite pause-raising seeing the number of persons and the group, which was not just one group of persons standing, but persons of different, what they will say, races coming together. So no one can say they did one race then. you saw that they were also at the front. Those who will consider white, they were at the front
Yes.
line
Yeah.
as well. Police on the other side, but they stood with, right? So today we are calling it Speak Truth Saturday. And a lot of times, we like to bash persons who are white, and we don't think that there are some that support what they would
Yes.
say black people,
I think we should
right?
keep it
And
balanced. It's all about balance.
yeah, it is. Right? But people don't look at it, it's always like the white man had us enslaved, the white man doing this, the white man doing that. But then there are times when what do we black people do to our own black people?
And
Right?
not only that, to add to it, Jamaica and Shulon, is that
Mm-hmm.
even our own black people has turned us into slaves, turned their own people into slaves. So it's
Yeah.
deep. It goes way back, where you find you had chiefs, black chief, African chiefs in villages was selling their own black people.
Correct.
So we can't blame or say we blaming the white man, which you see everybody doing all the time.
Yeah.
There are some Caucasian people who support what blacks
A lot,
doing.
Mike, a lot.
Vice
a lot.
versa. Yeah,
A lot,
I
yeah.
could talk that because I
Yeah.
lived in the UK for years, so I could talk that.
Yeah, a lot.
Right? So
lot.
yeah. Continue,
Yeah.
Chica.
Yeah. So as it relates to the video, we know the most recent would have been George Floyd, right? And it really touched the world. It wasn't just in the US.
Yeah.
Each and every country. You see how COVID touched each and every country?
Yes.
The death of George Floyd. I think it was the straw that broke the camel's back. They have never had that great protest because we know that there were other men of African descent that would have been killed unfairly white, right? And so unfortunately that was the case. So there were more who would have been killed. But with George Floyd, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and everybody say, okay, enough is enough. Right? Now, we know that in Trinidad and Tobago, we have this 7, talk, and then human rights and all these different. I'll be really promoting, we really emancipate. Lots of times, persons play that Bob Marley because he paid himself from mental slavery. And when it is people, they still, and it is a question, are we still enslaved? Yes, it is. Law, written in paper, African slaves, they know slavery is abolished, etc. But people, it come like if you are still enslaved because of your mind and where you are, your thinking and your belief system. Yes, it's true. Persons, they find this place where they want to feel a sort of belonging. So yes, they may turn to different religious systems and all of these things. But besides that, right, we need to understand that if it is as really doing rights rather than, or you bashing whoever from long time, in truth and in fact is, there are places where people of different races, different color, different texture come together to stand up for justice and to stand up for what is right.
So I do not believe in color. I
So
always
that's
give
my
Chica
answer.
my
That's more than 2
definition
cents.
I more than 2 cents. I
Yeah,
always
I
give my
always do.
definition of
I
color.
support that. Yeah, I
Right?
support that.
Yeah, that
What it is.
was it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole Emancipation Act and the bill that was taken before in Congress was from Abraham Lincoln. And he was the man that lobbied that a man should not own another man. It is not right. And he was the white president that they later on assassinated. So again, people, we have to understand that even black people are racist. I realize when we hear the word
Yes.
racialism, it's always geared one way, right? And we have to know when we say emancipate ourselves from a
Yeah.
mental
True.
way, is how what we believe we are and what are we becoming, right? Because you cannot control if someone likes you or not, regardless of race or creed. But we have to ask ourselves, what are we becoming now? So when we look at 1970, 1990, and because when we did the show, we didn't even realize that we went through the next uprising. That was a worldwide uprising, right? And the
Yeah.
media diverted our attention away and put blinders on. And then COVID came, and then that became a thing of the past. And we didn't focus on people standing up for what is right as a people. I had a discussion this week with a gentleman. He was a Caucasian gentleman. He came to do some stuff, right? And we were discussing this thing. And I asked him, I said, if we were to take all the races of people on this world and mix them in a pot like this, in Trinidad we just say kalalu, and we mix them like this, it wouldn't have like a pure white or a pure,
Yeah.
right? So again, we need to look past, right? It has been, we have been hurt in the past, but again, we have to understand that I can't blame every white man I see, right? I can't say every white person in government or in a high place is responsible. I have to ask
Exactly.
myself what I am becoming. It has to start with a personal view. We shouldn't wait for somebody to die or something magical to happen to spark a little riot. And then after the riot, everything boils down. We have to ask ourselves, what are we becoming? Mike, emancipation, what it mean to you?
Boy, I've asked that question this week. I've been asking that question for years. What is the meaning of emancipation? And all what you just said is a lead up to some of the discussions for many years by people. We have to understand, and we have to look at within our own selves actually. What really is emancipation? That's the question. Today, when we look at our own country, I asked the question yesterday on my page, what's the purpose of us celebrating emancipation in Trinidad and Tobago? Because of the fact that we all at a position in life today, whether it's COVID or not, even before COVID,
Yeah,
we had issues. Some of us don't even know who we are.
yeah.
So the question lies, what is emancipation? Most people can't say. We'll form groups, but then when it comes to the education aspect of it, what
Yeah.
about the schools? Have we gone
Yeah.
into the schools? Have these black history teachers go into schools and sit down and teach about black history? Hell no. So everybody's confused.
Yeah.
So emancipation means what? For me, I say try to find
And
out.
you
I
know
know
something, Mike,
emancipated. I know emancipated mentally. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, Chica.
teachers. It is you see, just as the media, it's the same thing for education. They teach us whatever it is they want to teach us. They
Yep.
give us the books that they want us to read. So in truth and in fact, the books don't really provide us with all the truth and what it is we really need to know about Black history. And when it is we know normally when it is we read about Black history, it don't really show all the persons who were involved in bringing forth emancipation, abolishing it. It doesn't always come with facts. It comes just as media with what it is they want us to believe, what it is they want us to know. So that's why we need to come out of and be mentally free to make
Yeah.
our decision to really come out of this group of people from the other group of people. So if it is really, as I say, I know we saying emancipation, but it also have this humanitarian aspect to this whole thing. Because then if it is persons that are like humanitarians, they will not study the race of another. They will truly stand up for, they will forget the past. Yes, they will have, what went on in the past, etc. But they wouldn't focus on the past, they will focus on the future and how it is we can move forward from whatever, all the things that happened in the past. You'll be thankful that you weren't there to see that type of pain, but others did go through so that we can be here today. And that's where our focus should be. How are we moving forward? Rather than staying in the past, rather than putting blame. And what I would say is discriminating against others, labeling others, stigmatizing because of what happened in the past. So we really need to move forward from that.
No, I totally agree with you. Fully agree with you. And Shilan and Chika, that's one of our problems as black people. We always keep blaming others. But we don't blame ourselves. Because the problem we have today among African and black people, especially Trinidad and Tobago, because this is where we are, we always quick to point the finger at somebody else. We always quick to point the finger, the government can do this, the government can do that. But then, what are you doing? We don't ever take blame. And we have the copycat mentality that whatever happens there, we bring it into our society. But we don't address it. And that's facts. So every time you see somebody put up something on Facebook, watch good. It's always a blame game. Always a blame game. Always a blame game.
That's why I said I really want people in this emancipation to ask themselves, what are we becoming? Are we becoming the same product of the past? Are we now not allowed to think for ourselves? We cannot change who views us in what dimension, but we can change how we view ourselves. Right? We cannot eradicate racialism because it's a personal choice. Right? We can't eradicate. It's never going to go anywhere. Right? So might play some music, and then when we come back, we will just touch base again. I know there's a heavy talk, but it's emancipation, and we want to touch base with the Bertie family, So might give me some tune that when we come back, we will sort of wrap up, because I know we have what you're cooking.
What we cooking?
And we have the effects of COVID-19 on the family, the blueprint.
So today is a busy day. A busy day. I had to go and hang out my underwears because I get them dry for later. So, real trouble.
Irie TP, Mike the Man, Chika J, and Bird Team TV, and myself. We'll listen to some music in the meantime.
Boom.
You're locked on to Radio IRTT, the family and international online radio station.
Doing my paces, doing my time. I am spending my restless nights, visioning faces. Oh, they all cry, cry. Prison on a bed of roses. The liberty it makes me bad. I wish that child could come and take us back in time. 'Cause I swear that I can be a better man. Yes, I swear. If only you could understand the fate of nations set me free.
Oh, I'm so steady.
I got SPM, baby. I got SPM now. petit temps, bébé. Pas gaspiller, non. Pas gaspiller, bébé. Pas gaspiller, non. Pas gaspiller, t'entendez. Pas gaspiller, non. C'est genre de femme, remet l'argent, bon dollar. Toujours à checker, n'est qu'à travailler dans l'état. T'as eu remet pouvoir, t'as eu remet ça. 4 motrices, vite des services de l'état. Altia, pas exigeant passé, yo pas souviré, depuis yo pas prado. Dommage, ça yo pas laisser bouillir de l'eau. Si c'est pour manger, ou mettre j'ai compris mon resto. Pas gaspiller, bébé. Pas gaspiller, non. Fait petit temps, bébé. Pas gaspiller.
They got Burn Team. They got Carry Records in Mafia.
Pas gaspiller, non. Give me now. Give me now.
Yes.
Entendez, let me see you. L'aime fait la chambre, moi fait l'anti. De 7 à 19h, son jour.
So we're back inside with the Burn Team crew / Radio IRTT. Very interesting topic. I have a friend around right now who sent me a message, locked on in the UK. He's in London. He is in West London. Somebody I told you always listening to us. And he was saying, keep the topic going, but be mindful that there are forces looking in on us. So you got to reach through the lines.
Yeah, man. Nice vibe. Nice vibe. And people again in this emancipation, we really want to focus on love, eh?
Yes.
We want to focus on love again because I realize now love has been underplayed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's all right for us to stand there. Yes, it's all right for us to say no to things that are not right in this world. But we still, the age-old story of love and what we becoming inside. So I'm saying if we become a better person and everybody else decides to become better, we wouldn't have to resort to violence. Right? And even if the powers that be they make the decision, that is up to them. But we could make a decision to say we dealing with this in the way of enlightened beings. I think we like to deal with things in more barbaric means. Yeah?
Shalon,
yeah.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Could you repeat that again?
I believe that we always like to resort to barbaric means when we should be more focusing on enlightened movements, right? We have to focus on enlightenment as opposed to more barbaric, right? We can't stop people from acting on their own initiatives,
right? But
we as a people could change the way we deal with each other.
Right.
I believe that is emancipation in your mind.
And that's exactly the biggest point you just said there.
Yeah.
Supporting each other with love, understanding your brother and sister, and not, we talk about crab in barrel.
Yeah, climbing up on each other.
It seems like our race, our African race, in most cases, are like that. Like I will say to you, I will say this, and for those who listen and might not be able to understand, the same white people that we continue blaming for years upon years, what they have done, have anybody ever said what we have also done to them?
Yeah.
Right? Living in the UK, amongst the English, quote unquote, white as they say, but the English white or the Americans, most of the time, they will go out their way to support you as a black man. I have had that experience because I was trained under them. It wasn't an African or a black man trained me. If I am doing something, that African man, the first thing he says, boy, you let any white man tell you that? You let any white man train you? But you not training me. You not training me.
Yeah, because the man don't want to take his spot. So you see, it's a scarcity mentality. You don't have enough money, you don't have enough job, so I shouldn't pass on what I know to you. We shouldn't come together and learn from each other because I feel you might take my shine. That's what it is, you know. I
Yes.
try to keep you down as low as I could because I know when you come up and surpass me.
But
When I should be glad. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Shulan, I
Yes,
talking from my
the team
experience.
mentality. Yeah.
I talking about my experience
It
living
have
in
been
the
not for
UK.
everyone. Yeah, yeah.
Living in the UK amongst the British white, I have had more support from them
Yeah.
during that period living in the UK
Right.
to get, to develop, to
Yes.
understand,
Yeah.
because some of them know more of our history than we know of our own history self.
True. True.
So what
So,
message we sending
yeah.
as African and black people then?
Yeah. So I know again, it is for us to uplift ourselves. So I think this emancipation, yes, we like to touch on the culture, but again, we want to enlighten the mind, right? Because we are now in a very multicultural world. It is different from 1960. So from 1970, 1990, this last uprising here, when this uprising was in 2019, Chica, when did the Floyd uprising, the Black Lives Matter movement, right? And
Actually,
when we look at the timeline, we really, really have to pay attention to the monotony, right? I was telling Chica this week, if my country doesn't love me, I will move. If I find I'm in an area that I had a duck from bullets, and I would move to a place where it is conducive to me elevating myself. Right? If you sit down in a place and the place is not conducive to your growth, we are not trees. I told a guy that today, I am not a tree. Right? If where I am, the soil is not fertile enough for me to grow, I would move to a place where I could grow. Right? And we have to realize that we have worth. We have worth enough to know if I had to leave from here and go China, I could flourish in China. If I leave from here and I go to the UK, I could flourish in UK. I tie down here.
Correct.
So if my country, wherever I am in this world, is not conducive to my growth and the growth of my children and people I care about, then I could move.
But Shulan,
I ain't staying and complaining, Mike. I want to catch up a drip.
I hear everything you say. Let me tell you. Let me show you. This is deep.
Yeah.
I was told by my spiritual mother.
Right.
The land that you were born in is not your land.
Exactly.
You are born in a land,
yes,
but you are not of that land.
Yes.
Let me put it the other way. You were born in a country, but
Correct.
you are not of that country.
Yeah. Yes.
I had to block a gentleman from my page because he has always been on my case moving to the UK. And one of his things on my timeline, he always put in, look at you, you moved to a white man country because you can't get what you could get in Trinidad. I laugh. And this is a black brother telling me that.
Flourish, man. It can flourish if it benefits in here. If it benefits in here.
Once you get the opportunity to, you can. You can
It can
flourish in
flourish.
Trinidad.
Yes.
But
yes.
it all goes to this.
Yeah.
Your mentality.
Yeah, the elevation of your mind. So Chica, tell us about this evening, the effects of COVID-19, and what's the topic for this evening?
All right, so this evening we have the effects of COVID-19 on the family, the blueprint, and the topic is going to be on frustration. Yes, so we know that a lot of times people may become frustrated during this time. They may not know how to handle the frustration, and we will be discussing that later. So we hope to see you all at 5:30 this afternoon. Let us know if you are frustrated right now, if you became frustrated at any point in time, and what did you do in order to deal with that frustration. Yeah.
Right, so Mike, you could take us out.
So
and
we have what you're cooking in a little bit next 2 hours.
Yeah, we honestly we whole emancipation.
In a bit.
Yeah, so take me out there, Mike.
Yeah, well done. So good morning again to each and every one of you. You will listen to the Burn Team, Sherlon Coffee, the Lion, Chica. Look out for Chica later at 5:30. All right. And listen to me, Mike the Man on Radio Irie. You want to say have a good one. We taking it out with the master, the lyrical master, Mr. Bob Robert Nesta Marley.
From the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation, triumphant.
Hey, it's a girl Chica G, and Burn Team TV is where we bring the vibes.
Burn Team TV is about merging
the information on our holistic health and fitness.
Online lives with basic unconventional raw nutrition services, giving it a TV effect while streaming live.
You don't know.
Shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Ooh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book.